Chapter 5, Coworker Eve. Eve comes in many forms in the workplace, and boy does she work the place. No one takes care of business like Eve. Hell, no one takes care of everybody else's business like Eve. And I'm sure that I don't have to tell you that you probably fit one of the modes that I'll be speaking of in this chapter. Coworker Eve is always so helpful and right on time. When you're late, she'll cover for you. When your basket is overflowing, she's right there to help you clear it out and get caught up. She stays late with you because she's a team player. When you're running a little short in cash, it's no problem. She's got you covered. You start to think that you finally met a true friend. So you invite her over for lunch. You start shopping together and talking on the phone after work each day. The two of you seem to agree on just about everything. So what do? Yes, I already know what you do. You start sharing your secrets and confiding in her. After all, she's proven her loyalty. She's been there for you in your time of need. It seems okay to let her know that you want your boss's job. The Eve in you insists that you can do a much better job than she does. You're far more qualified. You've earned a master's degree to your boss's bachelor's degree. You tell yourself that looks aren't everything, but you are far more pleasant to look at than she is. Yes, you let your coworker in on everything. So why are you surprised when your supervisor scores your next performance review lower than the last review? You also notice that she's overly critical of your work in just about everything that you do. And since you seem not to have a clue, you confide in coworker Eve. She insists that you're a little paranoid and assures you that it's only your imagination. You shrug it off and try to move on. But you've noticed that your new girlfriend is chit-chatting and laughing quite a bit with the boss. Of course, this makes you uncomfortable, so you start to pay close attention to your coworker. She doesn't call the way she used to, and you're almost certain that she's discussing you with the boss because everything's hush-hush when you enter the room. Then, to your surprise, a memo is distributed naming coworker Eve as the new assistant to the supervisor. The memo lists her ability to meet deadlines and multitask as her biggest assets. It failed to mention her ability to tell everything and her big ass. She had gotten wind that there would be a new position coming up and that someone would be promoted from within. Did she bother to share this key piece of information with you? No. Instead, she shared all the things that you said about the boss, and she even managed to get credit for work you had done. How can Eve be so sharp yet so naive? This snake had slithered up to you, persuaded you to eat the forbidden fruit, and you did. How could you not see this coming? Now, if anybody should know a snake when she sees one, it's Eve. How could you allow Satan to trick you? You see, the stage has been set, the rules laid, the game played, and the outcome revealed. Follow in Eve's footsteps this many years later, already knowing the outcome? Heartache, headache, pain, and suffering? Eve couldn't see it coming. You see, God made an example out of Eve for you and me. She had no knowledge of evil. She certainly hadn't read about it, and we know that her mother hadn't taught her about it. She had only to rely on God's word, and that wasn't enough, and you know what? It still doesn't seem to be enough. Every day you make your way to work and deal with Eves, and more Eves. Couple the characteristics of Eves with trouble on the home front, badass kids that you don't seem to know need some discipline and good old-fashioned home training, exhausted estrogen levels, hot flashes, PMS, and you've got someone that even Webster can't define. Imagine having to deal with you every day. You're either giving the boss hell or catching hell from the boss. And our poor children leave dear Mommy Eve and are sent off to Teacher Eve, who takes all of her frustrations out on the kids. No wonder teaching has become so difficult. No wonder kids are so out of control in the classrooms. Eve has lost control of herself, so how can she provide an education in a comfortable and supportive environment? Some kids are mislabeled as slow when all they need is genuine concern and group education that teaches and meets their individual needs as students. Yes, they're more than groups. They're more than PIN numbers. They're children and kids who deserve you to put your best foot forward. Coming out of Eve and not allowing anything to cheat them out of what is rightfully theirs. Education, love, and genuine concern for their well-beings. I should probably stop here, but I can't. There's not enough time for me to expound on every career or profession held by women. However, I must touch on Eve in the role as a nurse. I touched on Teacher Eve, and I'm touching on Nurse Eve not to pick on any one group. I chose the two because the lives of others are more at stake in these professions than in any other. The children and the sick are helpless as you preside over them in both roles. Nurse Eve cleans her uniform, polishes her shoes, and appears for work crisp and polished. Somehow, though, her attitude doesn't align itself with her attire. She enters the room with very little enthusiasm, absolutely no concern for you, the patient, and her main thought is, 10 more hours and my shift is over. Those of you in need of intravenous drugs, look out, because depending on her attitude, you will get stuck. She either brought some personal issue in with her, or she simply doesn't like the way you look or smell. Often, I hear those in the nursing profession say that they detest patients who smell bad, who are overweight and downright nasty. Quite the contrary. You see, Nurse Eve will treat you just as bad even if you are well kept, clean hair, clean nails, clean skin, attractive, very attractive. What did I go and say that for? What happened to overweight and nasty? You don't know, do you? You don't like some because you think that you are better than they, and you don't like others because you think they are better than you, which means that you don't like anybody, because no matter who the person, they're either going to have less or more than you. You can't be pleased because of the Eve in you. Do you not realize the healing power that God has given each of us? For a child and a sick person, your smile and your eagerness to show concern for their condition would restore faith and hope in someone who is possibly given up. Ladies, it's not enough for the sick to have the love and prayers of their immediate family, their loved ones. Close your eyes. Take a deep, deep breath. Now exhale. Imagine, if you will, the healing power we'd have if all of God's children prayed and exuberated true concern and true love for the sick and terminally ill as though they were your children, your parents, your spouses. Imagine, if you will. Imagine.